I'm going to talk about my history of having abandonment issues and what brought them on early on in my life, the childhood trauma that I've gone through, that I've talked about before. And I'm going to go a little bit more in depth and tell you why it happened to me and how it happened. My mother stopped sending me to school when my grandmother was sick with cancer. And my grandmother was very, very deathly sick. She had ovarian cancer. And I watched her health deteriorate. She passed on when I was 7 years old. And I saw her go through chemo, lose her hair, and everything. You know, it's not a pretty sight. It messes with your head having to see that as a child. Seeing someone get sick. I mean, I knew she was sick, but I didn't really know that she was that bad off. And my mom hadn't seen my grandmother, her mom, for almost 20 years. And when she was on the verge of dying, it really did a number to her. And I already was in special needs school, and I missed a number of days. And finally the police did a wellness check on me, and I was in the living room, and I had no clothes on. I had slept in the nude. And these social services people come in, I wake up. There's police officers, and there's social services, and they're on top of my mom. And they're threatening her and telling her they're going to take her to jail. And you know, for a child to have to see something like that really fucks them up emotionally and mentally. That's why I developed the problems that I've had, and that's why I've had unstable relationships in my life, why I've got issues with violence and nightmares and flashbacks and Ptsd, and why I get angry, and why I'm always in the mode to attack if I feel like I'm being attacked. Anyways, that moment was the last time I ever saw my grandmother, who was getting pulled out on a stretcher. And my very last image of my grandmother was of her getting pushed out by some EMTs out of her bedroom. I never even got to say goodbye to her. She died about a month after that, and I was sent to live with my dad, who I didn't get along with, who was never really there for me, who abandoned me when I was a baby anyways. It was either that or go to a foster home. All that shit does a lot of damage to a child, and it's not fair. I'm not blaming my mom per se for what happened, but she is partially responsible for it, but she didn't get the care that she needed. That's why that happened. And my grandmother, it was too much for her, because she was abandoned when she was a baby, and she was abandoned when she was a little girl again, and now here, as a grown woman, at 35 years old, she's about to be abandoned again by her mother, who's dying once again. And it's just a vicious cycle that repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats and never ends. There's never no stopping to it. It's evil in its pure form. Millions of people, millions of children around the world are going through that right now as we speak. Chances are you're one of those kids who got taken away when you were little, and you've got unstable, chaotic relationships with your family like I do. So my grandmother died. I came to her funeral at the house. I didn't know it was a funeral. I came to stay with my mom to visit, and my cousin had told me my grandmother died, and I started bursting in tears. I was so angry. I never got to say goodbye to her. I was ripped of that. And I hate to say it, but I blame society for that. People don't understand what it's like when you have family that comes from a third world piece of shit mud hut living country. You got to come to America and adjust to American lifestyle. People don't seem to understand that. And we have a lack of understanding in this country of that. I mean, I hate the world for that, for having done that to me. And yeah, I'm mad at my mom a bit, but I'm more angry at the world and at society for that. It's not fair that I had to go through that. And then once I got sent to live with my dad, he was very abusive, emotionally, physically, mentally. He'd call me all kinds of names. He'd trash talk my mom. He would say, "You're not really my son," and then sexually he abused me with his girlfriend. And we had a very rocky relationship because of that, and I cut him off. It's been almost 30 years since I've seen him. And I'll never see him again. I've got a brother that I've never met before. I've got no idea what he looks like. I have no idea. I've never seen a picture of him. Nothing. And it seems to be a commonality in my family that has happened. Even on my mom's side, when she had sisters that she never met before. Because my grandfather was a sex addict, like I'm a sex addict. And he slept with many women and got many women pregnant back in Ethiopia. And I got a lot of uncles and aunts that I've never met before that I never even heard of. It's mind-boggling. I mean, here in America, that stuff happens too. Sex addiction is no joke. But violence, addiction, mental illness, all of it goes hand in hand together. It's one big vicious circle of events that build up and go on and on and on and on. There's never no stopping it. I mean, had I been my mom, I would have just accepted the fate that my grandmother was on her way out, and that not sending me to school would draw attention and really fuck things up. It's unfortunate. My mom to this day still doesn't understand that that's what, she's the cause of that. But also society is a lot to blame on there because they put a strain on somebody. You can't expect somebody who's had abandonment issues, who has mental illness, to be with it together enough to really raise a child. That's the honest to God truth. People who have a mental illness aren't with it here. And if you've been abandoned as a child, it changes everything about you. That right there is what is the cause, the root cause of all the bad things to come. You cannot abandon a child and leave a child behind and strip them of their family or their pets and other things. I've lost a lot of things. I've lost animals. I've been through fucking hell on earth. I've lost girlfriends. I've lost friends for more than one reason. Some of it was my fault, some of it was other people's faults. And some of it also I blame on society again. Because the world just does not comprehend or understand the type of person I am, or what I'm willing to do when someone threatens me. I mean, I've been beat up so many times, I've been attacked, I've been through hell. I always get back up. I'll not stay down. I'll keep fighting to my last dying breath. If you got abandonment issues, I recommend that you check out Dr. Grande. He'll explain to you in depth about mental illness and about abandonment issues and the cause. And I got diagnosed with Aspergers. Could have been a misdiagnosis, I don't know, but I had all the classic symptoms. Couldn't be in bright lights like this. Couldn't handle any kind of noise. Audio sensory issues, motor function issues. To top it off, I was born 1.5 pounds, and my mom was pre-eclamptic. I was born at 7 months, and I had to be in an incubator for another 4 months because I couldn't breathe. To this day, my lungs are fucked up. I got to use a CPAP machine when I sleep. I've been through the ringer. People don't understand that I've really gone through it. And I don't know how people just sit there and laugh and make fun and they think it's a joke. It's not a joke. A lot of people have suffered too, not just me. And you see somebody that's suffering, you help them and you build them back up. You don't bring them down. You don't tear them down. You don't cut them low. You don't ignore them, especially if you're their girlfriend or you're their boyfriend or their partner. You're supposed to fucking be there for them to the very end. That's a sacrifice you've made by deciding to be that person's partner. knowing they have those issues. Like, my ex knew I was fucked up. She knew I had all these issues, and yet she still did what she did. Partially it was my fault, like I said, and also it was her fault as well, too. I forgive her, but I can never speak to her again. I'll never have nothing to do with her. And I do have a hatred for her and a disdain because she broke my heart. Simple fact of starting off of not opening the door because you're having an anxiety attack when your boyfriend's dog died that he's had for almost 15 years since he was in high school. And you can't show emotional support. You're a piece of shit. I don't care how you put it or how you spin it. Doesn't matter. You might have your own mental health issues just like I have my own mental health issues. If I see someone that's hurting and in need, I'm not going to let them go. I'm going to be there in their aid. But there's people out there that just don't give a fuck. They're too stuck in their own shit and their own hell to see straight and see that others hurt. And I've tried to explain myself in many different ways, but I think I've got my point across now. Just help your fellow man out. If you see somebody down, struggling, lift them back up, pick them back up. Be their savior, be their hero. I have faith in you.